When I learned how to code, we had to write it by hand. I did not get an IDE. Could you imagine writing Hello World by hand?
So, Code Glove is a way for us to let our guests tell us a story about an early experience that they had in code, and then share an update by writing that Hello World program live again here on the show.
So when I tell you we had to write code by hand, it was literally like, okay, you're gonna have something that looks like a string, right? And I don't like JavaScript. Does JavaScript even have types now? Like, could I do this and then be like, X equals blah blah that, right? And okay, so yeah, it's gonna complain. So hold on. So let me just do let, right? Or I could do const, right? X equals, and I'm just gonna put hello world, right? And so here's what we would then have to do is we would then have to say, well, this is a string. It's not really a string, right? It is actually an array of characters. So let's do the array. Okay, so here we go. H, and then E, and then L, and then L, right? And I'm not going to do the whole hello world because I don't have patience for that. But I'm just going to do hello, right? There we go. If only I could type, right? Okay. And then we would have to say, okay, so what happens? I tell you, we do this all by hand. When you go through the array and you process each character. Okay, so then each character it's a char, right? So it has a certain amount of space, right? Each char is, got it, 8 bits? Yeah, I think. I can't even remember. This is part of the reason why they made us do this, and hell if I remember. But they would say, okay, each char is 8 bits, right? So then you need this other variable. I'm just going to go var z. And notice that I'm using the best variable names ever, X, Y, Z, because that's how this goes in the world of intro programming. No one cares about your variable names. Just create a variable. And then you'd go, okay, so if this is supposed to be a character, then how do we know that the letter's going to fit? So you got to do something like this, right? Wait, I don't even know. Does that work? Okay, good. Perfect. Sweet. Now, the next step is, okay, what if we change one of these from an O to 0? Should this still work? Now, this is like the most ridiculous thing. I'll tell you, we used to do this all by hand because you literally would have to go through, right, line by line. Okay, so we go to the next index and then we copy that over into the array and then we go to the next. And then you get to the 0, you're like, well, what should happen? And this is how I learned about if conditions. So then you do something weird like this. You go var blah, blah, blah equals, I'm going to make that an empty character for now. And then you go for int I equals 0. Come on. I equals 0. I less than, now I'm just going to hard code this. 5. I plus plus. And then, of course, in typical C# C++ fashion, this does not go on the end of the line. I don't know why people would ever assume like that's craziness. Okay, so then you go Z should equal to Y I. Now again, notice how completely like descriptive our variable names are. So then, like I said, you had to learn about if conditions. If Y I equals now, so this is how we know, this is how we have to go through and be like, all right, well, what happens when you get something that's not a character? What should you do? Musical Bookworm said it's a null terminator. I can't even remember how the hell C++ handles this. I know for a fact that in C# everything is an object. I have no idea what the hell happens in JavaScript. Does anyone know what happens in JavaScript if you get like a different type, or is it just an object? So the way that I learned how to do this is we cheated. We would say, instead of like trying to see if it was a character, we would do this. If that not equals 0, then do that, and then do that, and then do that, right? But of course, this is absolutely the worst. This is the absolute worst because we're not writing anything out to the console. So we need to put something out to the console at almost every step, right? So then you do something like console.log. You do something like iterator is plus I. And then you do something like console.log letter equals plus Z, right? And then, okay. And then here we go. It has no comments. So you got to put comments in somewhere. Notice how terribly this is going, right? So here's our for loop. Here's our if condition. If this works, write to console. Right? If this works, write to console. This is like the worst C++ code you've probably ever seen. But we're writing it in JavaScript. I love this. Okay, now what I love about this is, like, this looks incredibly basic. It looks incredibly simple, but it's also incredibly wrong. Like, no one writes code like this anymore. This is the absolute worst. I'm sure there's some way. I love that B Schoolie. I love that B Schoolie's in here. Look at it. I don't think we have ints here. See? Look at this. This is the absolute worst. Thank you for helping to fix our terrible JavaScript. But no one writes code like this anymore. I'm sure there's some function. I'm waiting for some JavaScript person to come in and tell me what the function is that you do, where you literally just say, hey, why is an array? We're just going to console.log y and watch the whole thing right out. Like, you don't even need to go through and do any of this madness. So I love that, like, hold on, let me take this out and let me go, okay, wait. The old way, thanks C++. The new way, it's probably just that, I guarantee you. Let me see if I can run this. Can I run this? Let me go. Can I just go CLW? Oh, I can't because I'm in a read-only terminal. You've got to see if you can run this. You're in
read-only? Okay, I can run it. Hold on. Let's say... Yeah, wow.
See? You see this ridiculousness? Look at this. Chris Jones dropping in the love says, no, let's just do this. Let's just do this even differently. Console.log.table. You just give it the array. Done. Save that. And I love that you're fixing my bugs because of course it wouldn't be a good C++ program without a bug and without some obscure error message. This is how I learned how to code. Could you imagine how far coding has come? Good grief.
You know, although with the new way is quite a shortcut compared to the old way. You know, like at least in the old way, you did have to have like a deep understanding of what was happening in order to describe it.
In the new way, you can have zeros in character arrays in JavaScript. I think that's amazing.
So, you know what we're going to do next? Oh, well, so first I want to ask you, like, so, you know, if you were to give us a summary of kind of the difference of your code glow up, the difference between then and now, like, well, how would you summarize your experience here?
Two things. One, I actually have a code editor instead of writing this by hand. Two, I think that, you know, what makes this fun to me, and this is one thing I love about like just working in software, is that you legitimately, like, it just gets better. And as it gets better, you start to be like, oh, I totally know why this matters and why this makes sense. Like when I was coding in C++, the editor everything was based on those damn libraries you imported. And the editor just didn't always know which library you imported. So it didn't know how to tell you if there was something wrong or there was an error. And for the people who code in C++ now, they're like, oh my God, that was the old time. Who are you? How could you have written any working code? Yeah.
If you liked this video, subscribe and turn on notifications, and check out this other cool video that you can watch right now.